I don't have any slides. What I have got though is some thoughts and perspectives that I wrote down this morning, and I just wanted to kind of talk through those with you. Hopefully, leave you with a couple of things to go away and think about as I travel through this hectic world of EBE, LXP, PPIE acronym world of mental health and suicidality. I actually see this work as a bit of a movement, actually, and I do wonder whether the terminology PPIE actually is fit for purpose anymore. I'm not sure that it actually does justice to the work that we do. I mean, I categorize my work into several categories. So I consult, I attend focus groups, I do speaking events, but I also do a lot of writing. Is that all PPI work, or should I not consider myself a consultant or an advisor? I'd like to see the needle sort of moving slightly over so that we are considered almost peers to those from the world of academic or within the NHS system. I'm quite new to this space. I've only been in it for a year, and I look back at my spreadsheet of projects that I've been participating in. I'm quite shocked that I've already engaged with 36 different individual engagements in just under 12 months, with about 6 or 7 in the pipeline over the next 30 to 60 days. So no doubt I've fallen into an area that I knew little about over a year ago. And I think the reason why my time is in such high demand, no surprise, is that there are so few Black men who are coming forward and sharing their experiences of suicidality and mental health. And I'd like to change that, and I'd like your help to change that in whichever ways you can. When I started Project Soul Stride in August 15th of last year, it initially was designed to be a gap project for 60, 90 days. I'm now looking back a year later, and I've conducted over 150 direct interviews with very senior decision makers from across the country within the suicide prevention and mental health space, from public health to academia to third sector to mental health trust, NHS England, talking therapies. And it's given me a platform to speak truth to power, one of my daily slogans that I work to. The idea of this project was really to identify gaps, solutions, and opportunities to influence change in real time. And as a result of doing this work, I now sit on the board as a trustee with IMROC, which most of you will hopefully know is the leading peer support training and consulting company. I also sit on the working group with Thrive, London, Suicide Prevention Group, working with 40 different agencies as part of the Mayor's agenda for suicide prevention. Mind, the charity in London, I'm part of their advisory group, and the list goes on. It is very demanding, and there will come a time where I will have to say no more. My time is already full, and I will have to, in fact, scale back as I take on other initiatives. But I want to find other people to continue taking on the baton. This work can be incredibly lonely and mentally, physically, emotionally exhausting. In fact, I was in Manchester just late last week, my very first time in Manchester. And as a city, I loved it, even though I got lost. But I attended the BABCP annual conference. I was on a panel talking about my experiences of therapy, and a lot of what I had to say apparently was very well received. They've asked me to come back next year to Glasgow, so clearly I did a good job, which is always nice to know. But I do wonder whether we're missing opportunities in this space, and I talk about it from a networking and community perspective. Imagine this as a situation. Imagine if we built a PPI portal where those involved across the country could connect with each other, share and support each other's work. And then we could also use that platform to recruit and onboard new PPIs in a safe and compassionate manner. Because I know full well that whenever researchers are looking for minority ethnic participations. They are always struggling to find individuals. And that's why whenever I write in, I literally have my arms snapped off to participate. That should not be the case. We need to find any and all ways to recruit, identify, and bring on board more, particularly more Black men when it comes to these topics. I see suicidality research as not a race issue. Some people try to arm it, try to weaponize it as a white issue versus a Black issue, because the white suicide numbers are so much more than the Black suicide numbers. I never wanted Project Soulstride to be weaponized. For me, this is not a race issue. This is simply a life and death issue. I'm going to give you some very interesting statistics here that I think would lend itself well to research, Manchester or any other academic body in the country. And I'll tell you what it is. Talking Therapies 22-23 report on anxiety and depression showed that Black ethnic groups had the lowest rate of treatment completion, 3.8%, compared to Asian groups at 6.3%, compared to white groups at 79.8%. Now, some of you will be shocked, some will not be surprised. I was both. But surely a study that I've yet to see needs to be commissioned on asking two fundamental questions. Why are Black and Asians not completing their treatment? And where are they going next? We need those answers in order for NHS England Talking Therapies to make further, to Jav's point, culturally sensitive adaptations to their existing training and recruiting and supervision. Between Jan 23 and March 24, there were 5,171 deaths by suicide in the UK. 73.7% of them were men. How many of them were from a Black ethnic background? I don't know. The data may well be out there, but what I can tell you from absolute certainty is that race identification at point of suspected suicide is not happening correctly. So that leads on to the ONS data being accurate. And for those of us who have interest in this field, we are operating under misrepresentation. I'm a business development and marketing guy, so I use social media a lot to my effect to build impetus, to make sure that my work gets seen, so that hopefully other Black men can also say, you know what, I like what Chris is doing. I also want to do the same. I've had 2 suicide attempts before I started this work, and that's why I use that rich lived experience to create awareness, compassion, and enthusiasm in the work that I do. Thank you very much, Leo. Thank you all for listening.